Hi there, welcome back to my channel Scrap and Coffee. My name is Ivanka and this is what should be the last video for constructing the Simple Life folio. Or I'm starting to feel that I might need to call it the acetate galore folio, because I've used quite a lot of acetate in here and that was exactly what I was going for when I started it, so it's turning out pretty neat. The last thing that we need to do is work on our front inside cover. So the folio part is constructing wise, sorry for the glare, done, but we need to work here on that inside cover. So I've prepared some pieces and I hope everything is going to turn out the way I want it. But let's start with where did I put it, because I've prepared it here. A piece to clean this up. I like to do that, you don't have to, but it helps me with lining up my add-on pieces, and I just I don't know, it just gives me a good feeling to have that nicely cleaned up. So this piece measures, I need to say it right, I think 8 1/8 of an inch in height by 6 1/4. Yes, 8 1/8 of an inch by 6 1/4. And I'm going to place that here on the front inside cover, giving me an even border on all 4 sides. And I'm trying to line it up with that piece of cardstock that we already have here for cleaning up the spine. So I'm trying to line up that bottom and top edge, but sometimes that works out, sometimes that doesn't work out exactly, and then I try not to be bothered about it too much. So what I did is I've placed some 1/4 inch tape around the outside edge, and then I fill in the middle part a little bit. And while I'm doing that, I need to remind you, I think I didn't even do it in my last video, but that's okay, that I am mentioning all the measurements for the project. And I'm sorry, there's also some background noise going on, I hope it's not too bad. So I'm mentioning all the measurements, but if you like to have the convenience of a cutting guide for this project, that is for a small amount available in my Etsy shop. It's like really like a few dollars, which I feel is a good way of supporting me and my channel if you want to. And if you don't want to, then you can just keep a notepad nearby and write down the measurements that I'm sharing with you, and then you don't have to purchase anything, right? Because we all know with inflation, not everybody has that luxury of being able to spend money on cutting guides, right? We totally understand. No hard feelings if you're not doing that. So I need to place it a little lower than my actual cut edge there. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not going to be bothered about that. So I just added some wet glue. I always do that to give it a good stick, but also to give me some wiggle time. And then the tape gives me a nice clean stick on the edges and the corners. So I like to give all of that a really good burnish to smooth out the glue. I don't want to see any glue wrinkles under my paper. And make sure that there's no more air underneath that piece of cardstock. And now I can continue to work on this surface. So I'm going to start with placing a side pocket, which is, and I looked up the cutting guide for this time, so I know where we've ended. I just messed up my pieces here, so I have to see which is which. Here, piece U. That's going to be a side pocket. Now you can make it wider, but I wanted to be able to put some extra stuff in there, so that's why I made it a little shorter. So this piece is, oh, I almost forgot that I need to share the measurements, of course. So this piece is 9 1/8 of an inch by 4 1/2 inches. And on the 9 1/8 inch side, we're going to score 1/2 inch and 8 5/8 of an inch. And on that 4 1/2 inch side, 1/2 inch, or like I do, at 4 inches. So that's going to be a large pocket. And you also probably hear my oldest daughter running around in the house. She is on school break. So she is, I don't know, crafting something. I'm not sure. So some tape on the indented side, on the 3 sides with a score line. and give that a little bit of a burnish. And I'm also apologizing if I sniff here and there, because I might do it, how do you say that, subconsciously? Because I had a little bit of a cold and I'm on the better, it's getting better, but sometimes I try not to do it, but sometimes I might just do it without I really notice doing it. So mitering the corners, and then we can fold and burnish towards the bumpy side. And then we can stick this in place. Now actually I had quite another idea for this front cover, but I noticed that the space that I have between the front cover and the first layer is basically like a 1/4 inch, around maybe a little bit more than that, but I definitely want to prevent that the element on the front cover is going to push into our acetate here and damage it. And first I had the idea of doing something like a photo mat here on the acetate page, but I think I'm just going to leave it like this because I love what's going on behind it, how that looks. So little side note there. So I'm going to attach the pocket with the bottom long part along that cut edge of that piece of cardstock that I've just placed down, and lining that up with top and bottom. So the opening is going to be here. So I'm going to treat this as if it's a flap for now, because it's a little bit hard to turn it sideways. So I'm just going to do it like this. That also works. And my tape. Put some tape on top of there, because I know for a fact that I'm not gonna put too much pattern paper on the inside of the pocket. Give that a burnish as well. I don't know, I can't reach with my right hand, so I'm doing it with left, but I'm far from capable of doing stuff with my left hand. So, but it's on. Now I can remove these tape backings here. And fold it in, try to push on the middle and then down. But I'm not pushing too hard because I don't want it to be too tight. And that can be the downfall sometimes of the larger pockets, that they end up being a little tight. So stick that down, and then we have that large pocket in place. So now I can put this to the side, and we're going to work on a booklet that we are going to be able to slide in this pocket. Okay, let's start with the base of the booklet. For that we're going to need pieces V and W. And piece V measurements. Ivanka, share the measurements. Piece V measures, I forgot, 6 3/4 by 8 inches. And on the 6 3/4 inch side, we're gonna score 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. And then piece W measures 6 inches, 6 1/8 of an inch, I'm sorry, 6 1/8 of an inch by 8 inches, no scoring. So on piece V, I'm going to place some tape on the indented side between the cut edge and that first score line. Give that a burnish and a taper. So we're going to cut from just above that first score line. You don't want to taper your gusset area. That needs to stay straight, like that. And then we can fold and burnish on both score lines towards the bumpy side. Can always be a little tricky with that little gusset there. But while I'm folding on that 1/2 inch, so I have my gusset and my second score line visible here on top, I'm going to get my piece W in. And I'm going to align it on basically, I want to say 4 sides, but that's not right. It's going to stick out a little bit on this side because of that gusset that's showing right now. just making sure that it's all somewhat straight. Sometimes my cardstock is not completely straight and then it doesn't line up. So stick that down. And slowly remove the tape backing. And then we have a booklet with a, so push back on the gusset, make that standing up straight, with a 1/8 of an inch gusset. Now before I continue, let's do a double check that this is going to fit comfortable into that side pocket that we just created. Yes, I'm just bumping up against the attachment flaps that will, yes, nice, okay, that fits, okay. That will be covered up with the pattern paper, so then that won't be an issue anymore. Okay, so then I'm going to go to piece X, and piece X measures 7 1/8 of an inch by 8 inches. And on the 7 1/8 inch side, we're gonna score 1/2 an inch and 6 5/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to recreate something that looks like our second layer. This one. I'm just going to change it up slightly, at least I hope. So this one, only this here we can slide something in from the sides, and I want to make it where we slide something in from top to bottom. So just that little change there. Oh, that's not right. Okay, there you go. So for that, I'm going to turn it over to the bumpy side, and I see I've already, I don't know how well you can see it, but I've been trying to get it clear for myself what we need to do. Okay, on the bumpy side, I have to redo it because I didn't do it right. It's going to look slightly different than the one that we did before, but I think that's okay-ish. On the short side, I'm going to measure from my score line 3/8 of an inch inwards and make a little pencil mark on both sides. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to draw a line 1 inch from the cut edge. So line up the 1 inch grid line, 1 inch. And on the long side, I'm going to draw a line 3/4 of an inch from the score line. So I'm lining up the 3/4 grid with my score line and draw that line, and then I'm going to connect the intersection of my pencil lines here with the mark that I've made at 3/8 of an inch, and do the same thing here. And then we will be cutting out this part here on top and bottom. So, pokey tool. So my goal was to keep the frame size the same, and therefore it's going to look a little bit different. Need to make sure that I got on the right spots. I just didn't want to do exactly the same thing. I just change it up slightly. Okay, so then this should come out. Do the same thing on this side. Okay. Then we can turn it over to the indented side and get some tape and place that between the cut edge and the score line. It all looks a little bit weird now, but I'm pretty confident that once we've got it all constructed and the pattern paper is on there, it's going to look pretty neat. Quick burnish, and let's taper our 1/2 inches for hiding construction. Then we can fold and burnish on the score lines. So we can see our little 1/2 inch here now. That's going to be fine later on, don't worry about it. Going to get the booklet in. And piece V with the gusset, that's going to be the front of the booklet. And I'm going to attach this on top. And of course we're not attaching it on the gusset area, so might be the easiest thing to do is to just lay it flat and then attach it on top of piece V, and we should stay clear of our gusset area there. That seems to work out. So again, I'm going to treat this as if it's a flap, lining it up here on the right hand side on the cut edge, and the bottom and top and bottom. Give that a burnish, and then we can stick the other side down. Okay, so we have that. So we have a belly band top to bottom. Then I have piece Y, and I'm going to do a quick double check here. Yes, 6 by 4 5/8. Yeah, so that should be right. Okay, piece Y measures 5 1/8 of an inch by 7 inches. And on the 7-inch side, we're going to score 1/2 inch, 6 1/2 inches, and on that 5 1/8 inch side, we're going to score 1/2 inch, or what I'm doing here, for 4 5/8 of an inch. Same thing, right? So again, we're going to turn it over to the bumpy side. We're going to make our 5/8 inch frame on here. We've been doing it quite a lot already. We're going to measure from the score line 5/8 of an inch to draw a pencil line. And on the side where you don't have your score line, we're going to do 5/8 of an inch from the cut edge. There we go. And then again, we can cut that out. So we're cutting from intersection to intersection, and I like to use my pokey tool to pinch a little hole on the corners. Gives me a clean cut on the corners, but it also helps you with lining up your blade. So I put the point in that hole, and then once I've pulled back, I also feel that I reach that hole again and I can stop cutting. So it's out. Then I have a piece of acetate. Oh yeah, I can cut that down even more. So let's see, 5 1/2. Yes, and did I do the right? 4 1/8. Yeah. So the acetate is 4 1/8 of an inch by 5 1/2 inches. And I'm trying to locate my 1/4 inch tape right there. I'm going to put 1/4 inch tape around the perimeter of this piece of acetate. Okay, carefully burnish on the tape. Get our piece back in, making sure we're working on the bumpy side. Remove our tape backings. Making sure we have a little bit of a black border on the inside, and then we can drop it and again burnish on the tape only. You can see the color changing. It's a sign that it's having a good stick. And then we can flip it over to the indented side and place our tape between the cut edge and the score line on the 3 sides with a score line. And then miter the corners to reduce bulk. So with a 45-degree angle, we're gonna cut straight through the intersection. And what we also want to do for these pockets is angle the top of the 1/2 inch. So give that a small taper. And then we can fold and burnish. And getting our base back in the booklet. I'm going to make sure that it's opening up like this. And then I'm going to place this piece on top of piece X, and the corners of my pockets should line up with the angles on piece X. And if I did my job right, well, sometimes you might be a little off here and there. It's not the end of the world, but this is how we are going to stick it down. However, I suggest you first place your pattern paper here. You don't have to do the whole thing, right? Only strips. I do have a video on how I think, was it in the construction of layer 2 that I showed you how I did it? I think so, and eventually I changed it, but it's about how you do it, right? So there you can see it, because I'm not sure if I have the time to really show you again. I have to figure out all my pattern paper. So this will be the outside of the booklet. It looks almost a little bit science fiction. Reminds me of, I'm not sure, but I get all these Star Wars, Star Trek, I'm not sure, kind of visions in front of me right now. So on the inside of the booklet, I suggest we're going to keep this part flat. Put some pattern paper on there, add a photo on there. That's all fine, but you want this to smooth into the pocket, slide into the pocket smoothly. But here on the inside, we can do maybe a stack pocket, is what I'm thinking. So let me measure it out and prepare those pieces as well. Okay, let's call these pieces Z or ZZ and Z1. I've got them to. Piece Z is 7 1/8 of an inch by 3.5 inches. And on the 7 1/8 of an inch, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And 6 5/8 of an inch. And on the 3.5 inch side, we're going to score 1/2 inch. And I'm doing 3 inches here, that's the same thing, right? I keep repeating it so nobody gets confused. Then piece Z1 is 7 1/8 of an inch by 2 3/4. On the 7 1/8 of an inch, again 1/2 inch. And 6 5/8 of an inch. And on the 2 3/4 inch side, 1/2 inch. And I'm doing 2 1/4. So for piece Z, that's going to be a regular pocket. We can place our tape on the 3 sides with a score line on the indented side, like that. And for Z1, we're going to place our tape on the short side only. Just like that. And give that a burnish. So piece set, normal pocket. It's the biggest of the two. We're going to miter, so cut straight through the intersection with a 45-degree angle. For Z1, and I'm not sure if we did it before in the project, but I'm going to turn my piece and I'm going to cut just above the long score line, so up to the intersection. I'm going to cut the score line away, so I'm going to cut on this side of the score line, straight just above it, so we can cut it away. Then turn it from the bottom. I'm gonna go with an angle towards the intersection, and then this is what I've cut out. So I'm going to do the same thing here. This is just such a long and a somewhat heavy scissors, and I got hurt, I think it's about 10 days ago now. I fell off my horse when I was horse riding, during a horse riding lesson, and I'm doing that since a few months now with my daughter. And I fell off, and I've landed on my right shoulder. That's where the biggest impact came, and it keeps bugging me a little bit. I feel that there is maybe like a little rupture in the muscle or something. But then when I need to hold this away from my body and it's a little heavy, I just feel that I'm a little shaky. I have trouble with the weight or something, I'm not sure, but nothing to be worried about, by the way. I'm fine, it just needs to heal. It takes a little longer to heal. If I'm doing a lot of crafting, because I always work with my right hand side and I give pressure, I can feel it on the end of the day. That's definitely something, but... Okay, so what I did, we folded like a regular pocket on this one. On Z1, we only fold the side flaps in. We don't do anything here on that bottom score line. It's going to stay just like that. Our booklet, we can put that pocket to the side a little bit. We're going to open it up and we're going to work on this side. So first, piece set. We're going to line it up with the cut edge and we're going to meet the first score line here, so that little gusset area stays free from any attachments. Stick the bottom part down and I'm going to do my tape again. So I didn't do any acetate here. You absolutely can. But I thought it was a good moment to have a breather of the acetate here. And I also know, and I need to make a note in the video, but I was doing the decorating of the stack pocket that has the acetate at the bottom. And I completely messed that up. I just glued it shut. And I didn't even realize it until I wanted to put my photo mat in. Luckily, I was able to really carefully go in with my bone folder behind the pattern paper, because I used so little glue to kind of make that loose again. So now I can put my photo mats in all the way to the bottom, but I completely messed that up. So I need to remember that I need to make a note in the video that you should not put your glue like that on that piece of pattern paper. But I was talking too much, so I didn't realize. Okay, so piece set 1, I just gave it a dry fit. You're going to slide that 1/2 inch part up to the score line in piece set. And you're going to make sure that you are lined up nicely on the sides. If you need to make a little adjustment to make that straight, then that's what you do. And then don't worry about the fact that you see the score line there. You're going to hide that with your pattern paper. But if you go over here, like really exaggerated, if you go over here, that's not gonna look good. If you're gonna go over here on your score line, that's not gonna function properly. So you wanna make sure that that is straight. Okay, so I gave it a dry fit and I was pretty perfect. That doesn't happen very often, to be honest. But this time it was. So we have a nice stack pocket here on the inside for some extra photos or stuff that we want to keep in this album. So this is the booklet, and I can't believe it, but I actually finished the construction for this project after 1.5 months, I feel like. So we are going to be able to slide this in here Like I said, it can be a little hard now because we don't have any pattern paper. I can add more photos here, right? I can just... I had photo mats nearby. Not completely finished, but yes, what... So we can add extra photos in the pocket if we have that space there. So that's why I made it a little shorter. We can have photos in here, and we're gonna have photos here. Photos or whatever it is that you want, just like that. And what we can do is we can, to keep it in place, we can add a magnet on that's out of frame, Ivanka. We can add a magnet here and here to keep that in place, or we might even try to put the magnet here and here so it shuts on top of each other, but oh, I think we can make that work over the pocket to keep it nicely in place and not going anywhere, right? But yeah, I'm not sure if you really need it, but we can do that just to make it stay in place. So construction wise, done. Now because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do any more decorating on camera, I want to show you one more thing. I actually wanted to show you in the previous video, but I kind of forgot. So I have my magnet of my paper clip here in place. I've added this to the photo mat here. So I have circle dies with a stitched edge. This is like my most used die because I do this quite a lot. And I can make with my 1-inch circle punch out of the pattern paper that's going to fit exactly in there where I can still see that little stitched edge. And I made 2. So, and I've glued the one on the back. I just put glue on it and stuck it halfway on my photo mat. And then on the front I glued that front one halfway only. So that's loose here. So I put glue on the back one and then I just glue that together. So I can slide this in and have that go over the frame like that. And then I'm going to do like the 1-inch punch with some pattern paper from some scrap pieces. So that's why I'm waiting. And then my butterfly can go on top. And that's going to be my little pull tab if you want to do something with that photo mat. You can also have it like that, but I think it's nice to have it on top of the frame like that. So I'm going to do this, what I did right there. I'm going to also do it here. So that's why I have my butterfly paper clip there and here. And then also probably here on that front cover element. So just wanted to show you what I did there, because like I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to get a lot of decorating on camera. I need to give my daughter some attention as well. So yeah, construction is done. Yay! I'm so happy. That's a relief for me. So I'm going to slide this in here and we can close it. And I have photo mats in here that represent the photo, right? So, and there is a nice amount of space, still more space in here, so that's nice. It's not going to be too bulky, even though I've layered quite a lot. So I hope you liked the project. If I have time, I might do a video on some decorating the cover, for example. We'll see. I'm gonna do my best, and then of course there's the project share, but that's going to be the first video up there. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I think it turned out pretty neat, and yeah, I'm excited. I have so many ideas in my head for other projects. I just need to find the time, but we will get there. So thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope that you will join me in a new project pretty soon. Bye bye.